The cop who shot and killed Laquan McDonald, a 17-year-old, back in 2014, has been convicted of second-degree murder. His name is Jason Van Dyke. He is obviously no longer a cop, but again, the shooting took place back in 2014. And it all started when someone called the authorities to say that Laquan McDonald was walking down the street with a knife in his hand. And so Jason Van Dyke shows up. There were 8 cops on the scene, and he opened fire almost immediately and killed Laquan McDonald, and later claimed that McDonald was going after him with a knife, but later footage indicated that that was not true. So members of the jury told reporters that Jason Van Dyke's testimony was not credible and seemed rehearsed. The jurors, who did not give their names, said the veteran police officer did nothing to de-escalate the situation that led up to the fatal shooting. In fact, one juror noted as damning testimony that Van Dyke told his partner, and this was heard on the dash cam, "Oh my God, we're going to have to shoot this guy," before arriving at the scene. So he had already made the decision that he was gonna open fire. And so that apparently made an impression on the jurors. Also, the prosecution said that Van Dyke fired unnecessarily within 6 seconds after arriving at the scene, striking McDonald 16 times. So the footage that was released 13 months after the shooting, and this is because the judge demanded that the footage get released, showed that Laquan McDonald was actually walking away from the cop, and so he did not pose any threat. He was not in any type of danger that would lead him to be justified in opening fire. And he also lied in the police report. And so usually stories like this come up, like Walter Scott ran away from the cop as the cop opened fire and killed him, and there was no justice in that case. And so I just didn't expect justice in this case, but luckily there was. What the officer did here was wrong, and the jurors did convict him of second-degree murder.
So when we go into these rants that you guys talk about, and when we hear me, the mother of a black son, say that these are the things that we worry about and we have to think about, that live in our minds daily every time our kids walk out the door. When you try to make us police haters, when all we are asking for is equality and justice, and you see something like this is what we're talking about. When you scream Blue Lives Matter, we don't want cops to get killed. We want justice for the wrongdoings of those officers that misuse their power and abuse it and do these kinds of things. And we have to speak up for these young black voices that will never be heard. So I'm really glad about this. I hope it becomes an infection that spreads throughout our country, and that we can see a reform in this justice system and this police system, because we still got to worry about our sons at night getting pulled over.
Absolutely, and I think something that really resonates with me, because we've seen it a number of times where the officer is on video and it doesn't match up the report, but then he's not held or she's not held accountable in an actual trial. And in this instance, he is held accountable, which is great. It's not for first-degree murder, which there was enough evidence to go for that. Definitely him saying we're gonna have to kill someone, showing up 6 seconds, and then just killing the young man. But still, second-degree murder, hey, we'll take it. And then I believe it's like 16 counts of aggravated battery based on each bullet that was put into the young man. That's great. And so we're moving more toward where we should be as a society in terms of holding people accountable for their misconduct. It doesn't matter that he's a police officer. And also something that officers should be also focused on is this, colleague of yours lied, and that undermines what you say moving forward. And so you should really kind of check each other so that you don't bring down the authority that police hold in believing their word. And and we have to continue to work together as a society, just all of us, including the police, in terms of seeking accountability. Because even if someone is a member of law enforcement, if they have broken the law and taken someone's life, there should be accountability there.
Yeah, and in this particular case, it appeared that there were officers who were helping him cover up what really happened. And I don't know if they're ever gonna face any consequences for that, but at least we know that this does send a message. As a cop, if you're not in imminent danger, you are supposed to de-escalate the situation, right? And the race of the person shouldn't matter, none of that should matter. You're supposed to protect and serve. And so you have no idea whether or not the person who's holding the knife has a mental health issue. Exactly. Like, you have to find ways to de-escalate it. And if you are in imminent danger, if someone really is coming at you with a knife and you feel like you're about to die, that's when you make a decision about whether or not to, use your firearm. But in this case, I mean, within 6 seconds, there were no questions asked. Get in there, 6 seconds later, you open fire, and you read the details about how it all happened. And after Laquan McDonald was already on the ground, he continued opening fire, continued shooting. And it just didn't need to be like that. And so hopefully this becomes a trend, and there's more justice when we hear about these stories.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.